They say defense wins championships, but sometimes defense also saves quarterbacks from being exposed. The Super Bowl has crowned legends like Brady, Montana, and Elway, generational arms who changed the game. But for every GOAT, there's a guy who rode the coattails of an elite roster and cashed in on perfect timing. These are the quarterbacks who, statistically and stylistically, were average at best, yet still found themselves hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. Let's pull back the curtain on the 10 most glaring examples of below-average QBs who somehow, someway, won it all. 10th, Eli Manning, New York Giants, Super Bowl 42 and 46. I know I'm going to hear some shit in the comments for this, but here goes. Yes, Eli beat Tom Brady twice. And yes, he authored two of the greatest postseason drives in NFL history. But zoom out. Eli finished his career with a dead-even 117 and 117 record. He led the league in interceptions 3 times. He never made an all-pro team. Was he clutch in big moments? Absolutely. But across 16 seasons, Eli was streaky, inconsistent, and at times, a liability. He rode top-tier pass rushes, a brilliant catch, you know the one, and enough playoff magic to vault him into NFL immortality. But what if I told you there's a 2-time Super Bowl winner with even less of a case for greatness? 9. Jim Plunkett, Oakland Los Angeles Raiders, Super Bowl 15 and 18. Plunkett is a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He also had a career touchdown-interception ratio of 164 to 198. His win-loss record, 72 and 72. He wasn't even the starter for most of the season in 1980, only taking over due to injury. He played well in his playoff runs, sure, but the rest of his career was marred by inconsistency, sacks, and turnovers. He never made a Pro Bowl. He was never the reason the Raiders won, but he also didn't crash the ship when it mattered. 8. Doug Williams, Washington, Super Bowl 22. Williams will always be remembered for one of the most iconic quarters in NFL history, a 35-point explosion against the Broncos. But context matters. He started just 5 games that season. His career record as a starter was 38-42-1. He threw more interceptions than touchdowns in his NFL career. He was a backup journeyman who caught fire at the right time on a stacked Washington team. His Super Bowl MVP performance was brilliant. The rest of his NFL tenure, entirely forgettable. 7. Mark Rypien, Washington, Super Bowl 26. Rypien had one magical season in 1991. He made the Pro Bowl, threw 28 touchdowns, and led Washington to a title. Then it fell apart. In the next 5 seasons, he threw more picks than touchdowns. He was benched, cut, and bounced around the league. His mechanics deteriorated, his confidence waned, and the only thing that kept his name alive was that one incredible run on a nearly perfect team. But what about the quarterback who beat the greatest of all time and still ended up benched a year later? 6. Nick Foles, Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl 52. The Philly Special, the 373 yards, the touchdown catch. Foles was a literal legend that night. But let's be real. Outside of that Super Bowl run, he's been a backup for most of his career. He's never started a full season wire-to-wire as a true franchise QB. He's thrown 10 or more interceptions in 3 different seasons despite limited action. His reward for beating Brady bounced around to Jacksonville, Chicago, and back to the bench. His magic was momentary. His mediocrity, career-long. 5. Joe Flacco, Baltimore Ravens, Super Bowl 47. Elite? Not really. For 1 month? Maybe. Flacco's 2012 playoff run was spectacular. 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He got paid like a superstar. But he never made a Pro Bowl. He's led the league in fumbles. He's completed under 60% of his passes multiple seasons. Post-Super Bowl, his QBR and efficiency cratered. He became a high-priced passenger, not a pilot. One great postseason doesn't erase a decade of average. 4. Jim McMahon, Chicago Bears, Super Bowl 20. McMahon had swagger. He had toughness. He also had the 1985 Bears defense. That team allowed just 12.4 points per game. McMahon was solid, but he never threw more than 15 touchdowns in a season after 1985. He battled injuries, poor decision-making, and an inconsistent deep ball. He was a wild card, not a winner. The defense, featuring Mike Singletary, Richard Dent, and Buddy Ryan's 46 scheme, did the heavy lifting. But if you think that defense carried a QB, wait until you hear about the guy who might be the most famous Super Bowl stowaway of all time. 3. Jeff Hostetler, New York Giants, Super Bowl 25. Hostetler was a backup, full stop. He came in after Phil Simms went down and managed the game well, but he wasn't asked to do much. The Giants relied on a bruising run game and a defense coached by a young Bill Belichick to outlast the Bills. Hostetler threw 3 total touchdowns in the entire postseason. After the Super Bowl, he returned to backup status. Even in his brief stint as a starter in LA, he never elevated a team. 2. Brad Johnson, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Super Bowl 37. Johnson was efficient, he was safe, he was boring. And that's exactly what John Gruden wanted. The 2002 Bucs defense, with Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, Ron Barber, and John Lynch, was generational. They scored 3 touchdowns on defense in the Super Bowl. Johnson's job? Don't screw it up. And he didn't. But make no mistake, he was a placeholder, not a playmaker. And finally, number 1, Trent Dilfer, Baltimore Ravens, Super Bowl 35. This is the gold standard. Dilfer started the year as a backup. He threw 12 touchdowns and 11 picks. He had 5 games with under 100 yards passing. And yet, he won it all. Because that 2000 Ravens defense is arguably the greatest of all time. They allowed just 10.3 points per game. They pitched 4 shutouts. They were the team. Dilfer was the guy handing off the ball. Baltimore won in spite of him, not because of him. And they didn't even re-sign him the next year. What do these QBs teach us? That the Super Bowl doesn't always crown the best quarterback. Sometimes it crowns the best team, the best defensive coordinator, the best timing. And while all these quarterbacks made a critical throw or avoided a big mistake, none were the engine. They were passengers. The kind that don't need to take the wheel. Just hold on and enjoy the ride. So the next time someone says, "Rings define greatness," remind them of Trent Dilfer. Then ask them if they'd take him over Dan Marino. Thanks for watching. If you loved this breakdown of the most mid-QBs to ever hold up the Lombardi, smash that like button and subscribe for more no BS football content every week. Drop a comment. Which quarterback on this list was the luckiest? Or did we miss someone even more mediocre? Let's argue it out in the comments. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep dive, because next time, we're exposing the biggest playoff frauds of the last 20 years. Peace out.